Okay, hello, welcome everybody. This is Andy versus Matkap, round of 32. I'm Goron1988, one of the commentators, and I am here with Rob J. Beasley. And this is Inverted Keys. How are you, Rob J. Beasley? Sorry, Rob.
I'm doing pretty good, thank you. Yeah, Inverted Keys is a fun mode. I'm sure it's always popular with the viewers.
Yep, a lot of places have been changed around Hyrule because you mirror from the light world to the dark world, meaning places like Cave 45, let me see, Graveyard Ledge. They're just accessible now in the light world. That will be interesting. And the players start in the dark world and they have loot. So, yeah, it should be very interesting to see. We'll also see if the GT Big Key ends up in Ganon's Tower. It could be anywhere in this world.
It certainly could, but yeah, as you mentioned, the flute start is definitely an interesting twist on this mode. It also makes a couple of other locations available early off the bat, like some checks on Death Mountain. There's a location in Pod you can get to immediately. Just makes for the routes being a bit more divergent often.
Yeah. And it just means that it's, low percent Dark World. We'll be able to see how good these players are when they don't have the equipment to shelter them from loads of places like Skullwoods, Thievestown, Village of Outcasts, all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. There's obviously key sanity mitigates it somewhat, but if you find an early big key, you can certainly have to do a low percent blind or moth fight.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess we'll just see, and we'll see if any pulls. They're starting right now, and they're both starting in Link's house. And that's the Moon Pearl.
All right. I mean, obviously that doesn't do anything immediately by itself, but it's the first part of the puzzle for our light world access. Looks like both players are going to flute away here.
If they can make it to the light world, their sprite will be normal. Andy is fluting away to Misery Maya Shed, whilst Matkap is checking around Palace of Darkness. Although that's a shame there. One of those pterodactyl got Matkap.
Yeah, and you mentioned low percent light world, low percent dark world already, right? And that's what happens. A lot of enemies hit really hard.
Yes, I know a lot of enemies in the Dark World that hit for 2 hearts. 2 hits and you're basically done. And Matkap is now entering into Thievestown, whilst Andy is checking the north of the Dark World. Matkap gets a sword, which is very useful. And as shown on the tracker, Misery Maya, we did see the medallion. That was Bombos. So we'll see when Bombos appears.
Looks like we've got nothing there on Bumper Ledge, which is good news. It's a harder location to access in Inverted. You need the mirror in addition to the cape.
Yep, and Triple's not bombs. It's magic, so that's going to make it a bit tougher for our runners. It seems as though Andy will be farming bombs and... Well, I say that. Andy will be checking Skullwoods. We'll also see if he'll be farming bombs in Skullwoods, because there's a spot, I believe, with a 50% chance of getting bombs in Skullwoods. And
wouldn't be surprised.
And Matkap found the big key of Dark Palace in Thievestown, so that might be useful.
It certainly might. Yeah, we're only a couple small keys away from being able to access the big chest in that dungeon, so that's a check already that it's unlocking for us soon.
So Andy's in Skullwoods, Matkap is in C-shaped house. Matkap getting that 300 rupees. That's going to be good for a lot of Dark World stuff, like the digging game, for instance, and Kiki. And Andy, well, effectively warping out of Skullwoods there.
Yep. And Andy did notably get a bomb drop from the jellyfish in Skull there, and Matkap actually got a bomb in the first chest in the chest game there, so they've both got one bomb to play with there.
Now, there is good news for the future of this seed. Matkap picked up the book. In Inverted, the only way that you can possibly get into Desert Palace, because you cannot mirror into it, is the book. So that means both of our runners will be able to make it to Desert Palace once they make their way to the Light World.
Yep, and that's a hook shot in Skullwoods there for Andy, so some more good items hanging out early on here.
Yep, so Matkap's going to dig game. I mean, what would you think Hookshot would lead to? I'd assume not too much on its own yet, but that's...
Yeah, not right now, but obviously as soon as we get access to the Light World, we can get to the east side of the mountain. It's obviously, you know, as it is in normal modes, good for Swamp as well.
Yep. And Matkap picking up the mushroom from the race game, so another fetch quest is going to do the South Dark World checks, whilst Andy is going straight to Hype Cave. Is it hype tonight?
Andy actually missed one bomb throw at the door and only had exactly 2 bombs left for the cave, but luckily gets in there. And there's the GT Big Key.
I think that's decently hype. The GT
yeah.
Big Key, decently, not terribly, but decently.
Yeah, it's obviously always required. It's a thing that there's no real need to get early, but you know, it's important.
And I believe that's the second triple is fairies.
Alright, well, we've seen small magic and fairies, so I imagine that there's not going to be very many more trees pulls today.
No, definitely not. Andy is now doing the South Dark World checks that Matkap has done. We'll see where Matkap goes. Matkap has not checked Skullwoods yet. I mean, neither Marshed, so both of these. Basically, the runners are doing each other's checks at the moment. I'm just trying to think what checks there are left. I mean, there's still pods, and there's still Pyramid Ledge.
Yeah, well, actually, chat pointing out now, which I hadn't thought of, but yeah, with the way the warps work in Inverted, I think you can just flute up the mountain here, go through the warp that's at the top of the mountain there, and have access to the east side of Death Mountain because we have the moon path.
Yes, yes, thank you, chat. Yeah, I didn't think of it at the time, but yes, that's absolutely true. So we'll see if our runners figure that out. Matkap going around pod again. Also, what Andy did was Andy went into the shooting game and just gained a bit more money. Since I don't believe Andy has got the 300 rupees yet that was in, was it Sea-Shaped House?
I believe it was, yeah.
Yeah. So, Matkap is going up the pyramid. I'm just trying to think. Oh, Andy must have fluted up to Death Mountain and is now saving the old man. Because Andy has the Moon Pearl, he's probably doing that as well as the East Death Mountain checks that he can do. And that's a key on Pyramid Ledge. That is a small key to Dark Palace, so Pod looking a bit better now.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, with one small key there, we guaranteed access to the lobby door, so we can go through and open a few more chests.
So yes, it looks as though Matkap is going into Skullwoods. That's where the hook shot is, so that's definitely going to be good. Give Matkap a lot more checks. Although still, what's in pod?
Yeah, exactly. That's the main thing that we don't know yet.
And you see the bomb shots in Skullwoods. Matkap getting that hook shot. And what does the old man give us today? It is a big key. It is the big key of Misery Mire.
Right, yeah, we haven't really got very much information about which dungeons we have to beat just yet, but if we have to beat Maya, we need that big key.
So Andy is going to give us some Spec Rock knowledge. What's on Spec Rock and what's in Spec Rock Cave. Again, we might have seen what was on Spec Rock, so possibly just looking again. 10 hours in Spec Rock, and Spec Rock Cave is the glove. That's definitely very useful. There are 2 gloves in this world, and a glove and a hammer opens up a lot of the light run world to our runners.
And that's, as you say, a part of the puzzle for the light world there, and we can expect now that there will be a second glove or a hammer somewhere. You don't get that many Aghanim seeds in inverted keys, contrasting to regular inverted, where you get a lot of Aga seeds.
Yes. And just to clarify, some changes with regards to inverted. Aghanim's tower is now top of the mountain, whilst Ganon's tower is the... Sorry. Yes. Aghanim's tower, Castle Tower, is top of the mountain, whilst GT is where Castle Tower is. So the 2 locations have been swapped. And Andy is now going into Paradox Cave. Matkap finishing off his Skullwood checks. Small key to Misery Mire with that big key. Might make Misery Mire, a bit more palatable once our runners get Bombos. We'll just have to see.
Yeah, it could mean that Bombos is around the corner somewhere, possibly. We're obviously potentially being pointed to Maya with that big key and a small key now.
Big key of Ice Palace, and nothing else in Spectacle Rock. Also to do with this mode, because it's Key Sanity, it means that there will be a ton more checks. I mean, 2 more for the maps and compasses being out of each dungeon, and however many keys each dungeon has, those will be shuffled around. So, for instance, for Pod, that's something like 13 checks off the top of my head. I may miscount this. Also,
yeah, it's definitely something like that.
Also, this is a change in Death Mountain. The floating island in Death Mountain is just accessible from the Light World now via a bridge.
Yep, and we also can just jump down into Mimic Cave in another change. Obviously, no hammer yet means we can't get the item from there, but that is a thing that is a possibility. And there's the other glove. Look at that. Light World, here we come.
Yes, definitely. That's good. That opens a lot for both of our runners, and Andy is just going to go into the Light World with it. Sadly, the difference between Andy and Matkap is that Matkap has checked the book, which is in Village of Outcasts, I believe the chess game, which means that if Matkap flutes away here after getting the mitts, Matkap will be able to have a peek inside Desert Palace. Andy checking Checkerboard Cave, and Checkerboard Cave has a big key. That big key is to Thieves Town. So, apart from the hammer, that's Thieves Town sorted.
Yeah, that's actually a dungeon that can be beaten already. Obviously, we'd have to leave an item behind in the big chest if we wanted to do it now, but it is a clearable dungeon.
So,
with no fear there, just holding onto that bomb despite now being down to 1 heart. Okay, gonna take another save and quit. back up the mountain. Interesting. Obviously, Andy's delaying going to Kakariko and the more lucrative areas of Lightworld here.
Just trying to... Yeah, back up the mountain. Let's see.
So what's still available here? There's one chest in Castle Tower that can be done. There's the trip over here to Super Bunny Cave and Hookshot Cave,
Yeah,
I guess,
there's
also with the hookshot.
Cave, yes.
That seems like the main reason to be here right now.
So Andy is checking Hookshot Cave now. And, well, gets a map of Skull Woods, so be interesting to see what that is. Some money, and 20 rupees, whilst Matkap is going to be checking Kakariko. So nothing seems to pay out on Hookshot Cave. Andy going to give us the emblem. It is Bombos. Bombos is needed for, well, pretty much everything tonight.
Yep, though obviously in one of the very big changes in Inverted, the Turtle Rock Medallion not necessarily required, because we can, once we get the mirror, we can drop down, mirror to some entrances, and do it that way.
Yes. Yes, definitely. You can mirror from the light world. That is the Master Sword and the lamp in Cackwell, so very useful to see for Matkap. It seems as though Andy is chasing Matkap with regards to the light world and is going to be checking Village of Outcasts now.
Yep, gotta knock out these village chests first, and then I presume we'll also be heading into Kakariko. I guess the 300 rupees you mentioned Andy didn't have earlier. I'm gonna find the book and a sword around about this area somewhere, I believe.
Yep, sword is in Thieves Town, and the book is coming up very shortly. And a GT small key. Our runners need 2 of those in order to climb Ganon's Tower, if they have all their equipment intact. Although I believe they, I was told last time I did an inverted keys, you can actually steal 1 key, so that might be all our runners need.
Yeah, I believe so. You can climb with 1 key and then get the mini Helmasaur key while you're up there, which is always guaranteed. So yeah, 1 is enough, unless you need to do more checks in the basement.
So yeah, Andy will just be following Matkap's checks. So, well, just 1 check left, the back of the bar.
Yeah, and Andy delaying the trip into Thieves Town there, which kind of makes sense, only being a hammer away from being able to full clear it. Not going to be really punished by missing out on the sword in there, because there's another sword waiting here in the well.
And Matkap is filling up on bombs, which is good. Just thinking where to go now. I guess there's a ton of stuff to do. Library, race game, the dam, as well as mini Moldorm Cave, Ice Rock Cave, all of that, all the light world checks. And Matkap is only, well, both Matkap and Andy are only 17 minutes in. It's as though this was just a light world seed to start off with.
Yeah, and how players route the the main bulk of the light world here is definitely one of the more interesting things in an inverted seed. You can see which routes people take. Obviously, you kind of want to do Kakariko first, then you can be in a spot where you strand some north checks, or put off going to the dam and mini Moldon Cave too long. And yeah, it's just interesting to see how people choose to navigate this.
And that is the fire rod on race game. Matkap, I believe, just went in for the race game and is rewarded by that few second, well, time save.
Absolutely, and with that fire rod, we can now make that 2 currently beatable dungeons. Skullwoods and Thieves Town both finishable, but neither of them currently full clearable.
And yes, Cave 45 just accessible in the light world, and nothing there. So, one of the inverted changes.
Andy, always the entertainer here, throwing a chicken into the wall for our benefit.
So, Matkap is going up to Hyrule Castle. I was about to think that it was going to be Link's house. There is one chest there, but I'm sure Matkap will come back to Link's house and perhaps route it in with some other checks. So,
well, Link's house is in fact in the Dark World in Inverted, and we have that check from the beginning. But it's the bomb shop in the Light World,
yeah.
which he could also have checked for information.
Oh, whoops!
It's fine. The mode is hard.
Big key of Eastern Palace in the chest in the drop down, and we'll just have to see what Uncle is. Andy decides to check what is on race game to find out it's the Fire Rod and is now going to get it. Uncle just giving a piece of heart. We'll see if Matkap goes further into Hyrule Castle and checks everything here. I mean, with that lamp, this is all full clearable. All of Hyrule Castle.
Yep, that's true, although we don't currently have the small key, I believe, so we can't get to the back from the front, but obviously the back is accessible with the glove anyway, so I imagine that we won't be stealing the key here, just gonna go to Zelda's Cell probably, and then go to Darkross.
I definitely do remember, and one of the chat was saying is that, and saying again that they did get a small key to Hyrule Castle, so, and you can see it on the screen. Ooh, the Ice Rod in Hyrule Castle. We'll see if that pays out.
Yeah, we still don't know if TR is a crystal yet, but if it is, that's a required location.
So now we're going to get information from Andy's side on the bomb. So Thieves Town and Desert. That's big. That knowledge is big because both of those are clearable. Well, apart from the possibility that Desert is boots locked. Which we hope not. Andy following in Matkap's steps and is going to be doing the Hyrule Castle checks.
Yeah, and in Key Sanity, Desert is never really meaningfully boots locked. Obviously, there could still be an important item on there, but the keys are, not hanging out there.
Oh, yes. Thank you again for correcting me on that one. And nothing in Zelda Cell, so Matkap is just going to be continuing on.
Yep, going to take this slow and painful death warp. It looks like Andy is coming into the castle as well, so he's not going to miss out on this Ice Rod.
So Matkap is going to soon give us some Dark Cross checks, and then the back of his escape checks. In total 5, including the Sank Heart chest, so we'll see if any of these pay out. And then Matkap will be at, well, the north of the map. Probably the same for Andy, who's about to pick up his Ice Rod. So, yeah, we'll see where they go from there.
I hadn't really picked it up on it at the time, but yeah, with that Hyrule Castle small key, this is actually quite a neat way of routing South Light World into North Light World. Just walk all the way through Escape and then come out of Sanctuary and do the checks at that point.
Yep, and there is that mushroom turn-in.
Yep, that's true. It's a slightly awkward location in Inverted because you can't just flute right outside there, so that's probably going to be the best time to do it.
So, Dark Cross has been checked. It wasn't anything. Let's see about these 3 items in the back of Hyrule Castle. Of course, both runners getting it. So, 3 bombs, 20 rupees, and 50 rupees. So, apart from the Ice Rod, Hyrule Castle has been a bust. If Turtle Rock isn't required, either of the runners could have saved a bit of time by not doing this. Although, I mean, logically, all these chests, it is a very logical play from both our runners. So, Matkap coming up to Sank Chest, and that is a small key to Ganon's Tower, making it easier for both our runners here. Matkap is going to be going out of there, and, well, welcome Raiders, and thank you. So, Matkap is going to be checking our Graveyard Ledge, and that is fully accessible from the Light World, given the fact that this is inverted. And it is a full heart container, which Matkap will pick up. Let's see. I mean, check-wise, Matkap... Well, both Matkap and Andy have enough money, so Zora's in Logic. They can both do the Mushroom Turn, and there's Sahasrahla, and possibly the first checks in Eastern. So they both may very well do that. The dungeons both of them can do are Desert Palace, which is far away from here, and Thieves' Town, both of which are actually red crystals, which would give them Pyramid Fairy. Yes, Matkap did walk past King's Tomb. The reason is he would need the boots in order to access it. And Mushroom just putting in 10 bombs. Matkap saving and quitting. And we'll just see where he goes now.
It looks like he's going to go into the desert area here, which is somewhere Andy has already been. Could well go into Desert Palace here.
Yes, definitely good. And there's a bottle, so another fetch quest for our runners.
Yeah,
And
we saw that bottle earlier, obviously on Andy's side, but yeah, he didn't have the book at the time, so couldn't grab it.
so yeah, what is in Desert Palace? And we'll see if Andy retraces Matkap's steps after these two turn-ins, or whether he goes someplace else, because there is Sahasrahla, there is Eastern Palace that can be checked, not finished, but a lot of checks there. First item in Desert Palace is just 3 bombs, so... Well...
Yeah, looks like Andy's walking back to the west here. This could be just scavenging the lumberjack item, yeah, and then the Lost Woods.
So, Matkap not finding anything in Desert Palace. Because Matkap doesn't have the big key or the small key, he can't make his way towards either side, instead only being able to check the top chest and the...
Well, that was a bow on lumberjack there. That could be interesting.
Oh.
Obviously, in this mode, we do have progressive bows. There is another bow out there somewhere that could be found instead, but yeah, that's potentially important.
Yeah, that's very big. And Matkap going to be picking up his big key.
First Turtle Rock small key there in the Lost Woods drop down.
Yep. And Matkap going to be checking Agina's cave. I don't think this has been... I mean, it should have been checked before.
Yeah, Andy did this while he was here. I don't think it was anything.
Ooh. Well, we know what's coming. Is this a ped seed? Is it a ped seed? Andy walking up past all those... Yeah.
Second bow incoming? Just couch cash.
Just couch cash, yeah. I mean, in all fairness, it would be terrible if it was a second bow.
Oh, yeah.
So, Andy is fluting away, and this will be a pop play. And Matkap checking bomb... Well, not checking, actually getting Bombo's tablet, and that's just a piece of art.
Yeah, of course, Andy didn't have any swords at all when he was in Desert Area, so yeah, couldn't, or the book for that matter, so was nowhere near getting Bombo's tablet himself. With this slightly awkwardly timed map check, almost walking into an enemy there, but it worked out, and it turns out that Skull Woods was also a crystal.
Yes, as much as I know, Skullwood should be completely clear. Oh, wait, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, we can't open the big chest, but beyond that, the dungeon is beatable.
Matkap picking up his third sword from the Drain Dam, so that must be really nice, really convenient.
There's another Turtle Rock Small in the front of the pod. If we get the mirror, you only actually need one small key to beat Turtle Rock, because that's the only thing locking the boss, but you need more keys to access some chests, and there's lots of them in there.
So, yeah, 5 chests here. Is there anything? Map of Ice Palace might help.
Right, looks like despite not having a bow or any keys, Andy's going to attack this pod a little bit more, so we're going to see some mimic clipping action coming up here.
Yep, and nothing in Mini Moldorm Cave.
This is an interesting decision, because obviously Andy does know where there is a bottle with a potion in it right now that he could go and get instead of doing it like this, but he's choosing to just do pod first.
If this gives a Desert Small Key or a Desert Big Key, this might be very useful for Andy. Because it...
Yep.
So, Andy trying to get that Mimic off screen to open the door. Gets it successfully and opens that door. Whilst Matkap is checking Ice Rock Cave, and that is a small key to Skullwoods.
Right, not hugely important, though all of the small keys to Skullwoods, there are 3 of them, are logically required to beat the dungeon, because you could waste them in some bad spots, but yeah, most of the time we don't really care about that.
And Andy checking the last 2 chests in the right side of the pod.
Not really getting any payout there. Alright, here comes the Thieves Town play from Andy, so presumably he's gonna go to the back here as well, finish the dungeon, and hope that there's nothing good in the big chest.
Yes, that's Andy's Master Sword. So Matkap is now fake flippering, and gets hit.
You hate to see it.
Oh, that's terrible.
Okay, it was a quick one at least.
So Matkap fluting to 3, and going into Thieves Town. So there will be no difference between our runners here. Well, there's the difference of Desert Palace and Palace of Darkness between both of them, but neither of them really paying out, apart from that bottle that Matkap has gotten.
Yeah, chat discussing there, Andy choosing to do 0 key pod before Thieves Town. I think obviously just like trying to hard put off Thieves to try and find that hammer, but eventually the pressure just told and he had to go in anyway.
Yeah. As Matkap has done the first 4 checks, Matkap has, well, just gone past Andy in this Thieves Town delve. So, yeah. So there is the bombable floor chest, the maiden's chest, and blind. 3 possible checks here. We'll see if any of them pay out. And the bombable floor chest is just the compass of Thieves Town.
Well, we get a nice little counter telling us how many checks we've done at least.
I guess it does help our runners. And that is a... well, that is a death from Andy. Might be a warp, though, to get to blind quicker. No, Andy goes out of there.
Andy's bailing again. Gonna try and delay even longer looking for that hammer. I'm not sure if that death was intentional or not, but obviously choosing to bail after it happened.
Yes. So... this may be... just trying to think where this may be. I mean...
yeah, I mean, if you're rooting for Matkap here, you want to see a hammer in this chest. Okay, that is not a hammer.
It could be a shovel leading to a hammer.
That is true.
Andy definitely going to south here. I personally can't think of the play, so I'm wondering what I'm missing. Is this K45 maybe?
Yeah, I don't think Andy's done South Shore at all yet.
Ah, I see. Oh. Oh yeah, well Andy hasn't done South Shore and there's no way to teleport down there, so... yep.
Yep, without the hammer we haven't got a better way to get into the Dark World, just got to start from Kakariko and then walk.
So Matkap is facing off against Blind here. Blind is one of the bosses where Tempered Sword isn't really that useful, because Blind just needs 9 hits and he is down, as seen here on Matkap's side. Matkap gets Blue Mail and his first crystal, and that is, well, that is a 5/6 crystal. Once Matkap gets keys to Desert Palace, that's Pyramid Fairy. And there Andy picks up his third sword from the dam.
Yeah, looks like Matkap's just going to carry on taking on these dungeons here and go back into Skullwoods.
Yes. The question is, though, where's progression? Is it deeper in Skullwoods?
Yeah, it could be. There's some more checks in Pod where it could be, because Matkap obviously has that key. I can't remember exactly where that key was. Maybe it was in this this mini Moldom cave here, but Andy still hasn't got a Pod small key. Yeah, is it this? No, it's a GT small. Okay. I cannot remember where the Pod small was, but it's out there somewhere.
And, well, some of chat thinking that this is going to be an Aga Seed. It is true that Bow on Lumberjack, those 2 items on Castle Tower, we will see if it is.
Certainly could be. We've got enough swords in the lamp who can make it happen. Obviously no boots yet for the actual access to the Lumberjack bow. It'll be interesting to see, actually, if the players... I think only Andy knows about that bow right now, right? But if he finds the boots, whether he just chooses to immediately do Aghanim for the bow, or to keep looking for another one.
Look, I hate to be the, well, I do sometimes craft bad ideas, but it could be possible that the boots are in Castle Tower.
Oh my.
Although, as we can see here, both our runners need another Castle Tower small key in order to complete Aga in the first.
Oh, Matkap getting the hands.
Oh. Yeah, that's terrible. Matkap getting dead-handed to the start of the screen. I looked away for a second going, yeah, Matkap's dropping down to face off against Barthula, and no, the level not being so nice to him.
Yeah, unfortunately, in the Japanese 1.0 version of this game, which the randomizer is based upon, you can get damaged by enemies while falling down holes, and that includes getting grabbed by Wallmasters.
So Andy is going to give us fake flipper chats that Matkap hasn't done, and under the bridge is 20 rupees.
Andy leaping back out there, so presumably also going to go to Zora area here. Meanwhile, Matkap is all set to take a 2-crystal lead here.
Yes. Whilst it is a 2-crystal lead, these runners have been doing a few different checks, so it's hard to say who's really in the lead until both our runners get the items that they need in order to complete further dungeons, really.
Yeah, for sure. There's a long way to go in this one. Matkap finding a second bottle there. Still haven't... Have we seen Sick Kid, actually? I can't remember if we'd seen Sick Kid or not.
No, we haven't seen Sick Kid. That is Matkap's second crystal at 38 minutes and 40 seconds. Andy has checked the Waterfall Fairy. I didn't see anything in there. Can anybody verify that?
Yeah, I don't think it was anything.
And, ooh, red mail is on Zora Ledge.
Yep, presumably neither one are going to care too much about that. There's enough hearts around that we've... we're not in too much danger of dying. Obviously, blue mail was on blind, so Andy's going to inevitably get it at some point.
Yes. Zora just giving a piece of heart, and Matkap is fluting away to do some more mountain checks.
So Andy's walking back out here, so I presume this means Ice Palace. Wait, no, you don't get there in the light world. Oh, here's the glove, though. Yeah. You can... Wait, no, hang on. I don't know what Andy's doing right now.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think.
He's walking to the potion shop from here? Okay. Has he not done this yet? That's fine.
I thought he did do the mushroom turn, and I might be wrong. I'm assuming I'm wrong.
No, I think the answer is just that in inverted without... you can't flute around the light world, so it just kind of sucks. Yeah, there we go. He is turning in his potion. But you've got to do a lot of walking in the light world in this mode anyway, so it could just be that he's going somewhere else afterwards.
Matkap checking the first two items in Castle Tower. I say the first two. The first item in Castle Tower. That is the big key of Desert Palace. Desert Palace being a 5/6 crystal. That big key... Desert Palace is clearable as much as I know, so that basically means that could give a ton of items.
Certainly could. They're not in logic right now, because the Desert Palace small key is also logically required to beat the dungeon. But I imagine that's not going to stop Matkap from beating Desert and checking the pyramids. Obviously, he's now catching up on these checks on Death Mountain as well.
Yep. Andy is now going to be checking Sahasrara, whilst Matkap is doing the hookshot checks as well as the the Super Bunny Cave. And the green pendant is Ice Palace. Oog. So, another Pocky. Ooh, that's the bow. Just there, just before Eastern Palace. So, this is not aggro required.
We've been spared the Aghanim. It also means that Andy can just go ahead and beat Eastern Palace right now. Have we seen the map to Eastern? I guess we were about to find out. Yeah, it's a crystal. Okay, cool.
We don't know what Eastern Palace is. Matkap fluting away to 6. And this looks like it's the Desert Palace play.
Yeah, I think before too long our runners are going to have beaten 4 dungeons between them, and none of them are the same as each other, interestingly.
Yes, definitely. Although Matkap does have a choice here. The choice Matkap has is the small key in the back. Does he use the small key for the 2 items in Desert Palace, or does he use it to clear out Desert Palace for 1 item and then go to Pyramid Fairy for 2? I'd assume he'd continue on in the back, but...
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when it's a crystal, I think you almost always do it like that. Like, you never know where the Desert Palace small key is going to be, right? If you use the small key here on the right-hand side and don't save scum it, right? Consume it, then you're then forcing yourself to get the small key from somewhere. And for all he knows, it could be in a terrible location.
Mm. And chat pointing out, which I did miss, so thank you. Bombos was the second check in Eastern Palace, which is just giving a lot of goods the eastern side of Lightworld today.
Yeah, that's the important one. We needed that medallion. We're just a cane of Samaria away now from being able to beat Maya.
Just thinking, yes. So Matkap is just going to the back. Yes, so Andy can full clear Eastern Palace. Just wondering, is it a crystal or is it a pendant? I guess
Eastern is a crystal, because we have the map, as we can see in the top left corner of Andy's screen.
Oh. Oh, I see.
I don't think anybody had previously checked that map, but yeah, as soon as he walked into the dungeon, there's a big C there, and there's the flippers as well.
Oh, the flippers.
So Eastern area has been pretty nice here. Although, I guess kind of scarily, that is access to Ice Palace now.
Yes, that is access to Ice Palace.
We've got Fire Rod and Bombos and the big key, so we can even fully clear it for a green pendant if we so desire. Andy's already done all of the other flipper shacks as well, so it is just ice right now that it's giving us.
And that is Matkap's third crystal at 45 minutes, defeating Lammo, and that opens Pyramid Fairy for him. So we'll see what happens here. And whilst that is happening, Andy is about to face off against Almos Knights.
Looks like Matkap is walking away from Desert here, so that's going to be some other sort of light world check here. I'm not entirely sure where he's not been yet. Just be walking all the way to Eastern area from here, honestly. Like, it's about as good a way as we can get there right now.
So yes, so that's Andy's first crystal at 45 minutes and 50 seconds. Chat asking, is Andy behind, or has Andy done more checks that Matkap hasn't done? I'd say it's always tough to figure out with regards to routing. I would say that Andy might be a little bit behind, but Andy has done a lot more checks that Matkap hasn't done, so I think it's still too early to say who's ahead and who's behind at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. If he is behind, it's not by much. It's not like any of the dungeons that Matkap's beaten are going to take Andy ages to do.
So this is Andy checking Ice Palace.
It looks like we are going to have the pod dip from Matkap now with two smalls and a big key. A lot we can do here.
Yes. Matkap does have potions, so that will help him with regards to the right side. The thing is that Matkap doesn't have the bow that we know. One of them is at Sahasrahla. But,
Alright, well, Andy just found a mirror in Ice Palace, so that's news. So yeah, the Eastern play paying off pretty big there. It obviously gave Andy a few items while over there, and also then guided him to Ice with those flippers, where he's found even more stuff.
Yes, so mirror in Ice Palace, I mean, that opens up... Ugh, that opens up the first chest of Swamp.
Yep, it puts us one Turtle Rock Big Key away from being able to beat Trinex.
Yes. So we'll see. Andy not having the King of Samaria means that he has to bomb jump across Ice Palace and do things the, well, I'd say close to the vanilla route. I might be wrong in saying that.
Yeah, it's certainly closer. I mean, obviously no speedrunner or rando player has ever really beaten Ice Palace in a way that the developers intended, but it's certainly a bit more normal than Icebreaker is.
So, Matkap not picking up much with regards to the Palace of Darkness. We'll see with all the other checks whether Matkap will find something. And Andy going further into Ice Palace. Matkap is just finding maps.
Yeah, GT and Desert not particularly useful maps right now. Already has Desert beaten, and Gannon's Tower's map does not tell us anything at all. There is no pendant or crystal waiting for us in that one. Vanilla single arrow. What do you know?
Interesting. Matkap will be bomb jumping to get 3 items in Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, I think he's just reloading the room because it's more comfortable to do this this jump from the south. It's what everyone's used to. I've certainly done this on occasion as well.
And that is half magic. Andy getting a compass of Ice Palace in Ice Palace. Same as the compass of Thievestown in Thievestown. I think all the compasses are just in their dungeons somehow, even though they shouldn't be.
Yeah, why not? Best place for them. Okay, there's the Skullwoods big key in pod there. So unless that leads to an item, it's not a huge deal. It is basically just a fetch quest item.
And that's all that can be done in pod. Pod basically being... Oh, I'm missing one chest.
Stealth first basement. Yeah, he's not dropped down to stealth first basement yet.
Yeah, I said it too soon.
Oh, maybe he has. Where? Oh no, we're dropping down over there. Yeah, sure. The jellyfish was camping the other ledge.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, where's Andy heading next? Back over to Village of Outcasts here, but still not going back into Thievestown.
And Matkap also hasn't done right side, so he will do that now. And that after that, it should be the end of Palace of Darkness for him.
So it's not Skullwoods either from Andy. Back in the light world.
Smith chain, maybe?
He would need to have grabbed the smith from the dark world first, though.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's... Oh, no, he has the mirror now. Sorry, no. I forgot he had the mirror. Yeah. You just come over here and mirror and grab the smith. Is it actually smith chain? And obviously with that mirror, he can get back to the dark world over here easily enough, so it could be like smith chain into a Thieves' Town or a Skullwoods, potentially. I guess Skull is more of the natural play, because Andy's already done some of the back of Thieves even. Like it's, I imagine Andy's going to like hard wait for Hammer for Thieves now.
So the difference in material between Andy and Matkap now is because of Andy's Eastern Palace play alongside his Ice Palace play. Eastern Palace giving him Bombos and the Flipper, Sahasrara giving him the bow, and Ice Palace giving him the mirror. Because of all of this, you know, there's a lot more locations Andy can check as opposed to Matkap. And I believe Matkap is now going to be checking the big chest in Skullwoods.
Yep, makes sense. You just found the big key. You know, Andy may not have done that stuff yet. Try and pressure advantage. Okay, just a cape, which is not useful to us. We've already seen that Bumper Cave doesn't have anything, although that could be Spike Cave. Oh no, we haven't got a hammer. You need a hammer for Spike Cave. Okay,
yeah.
Mind.
Andy getting his second small key to Castle Tower, I believe. So yes, and doing Bombo's tablet. We'll see if there's... We know that Agnum isn't required in this seed, but nobody has checked the second chest in Castle Tower. If that is something, that second key may lead Andy to it. Andy going into Desert now, and yes, can't full clear it because he hasn't got the Desert Palace big key yet.
Yeah, it's a slightly awkward play, but obviously Andy knows that that bottle is waiting for him, so he might be also having Sick Kid in his mind. He knows that there is another check accessible to him locked behind the stuff in here, so that's part of the reason probably.
And Matkap showing that there's nothing on Catfish.
Yeah, it's actually a little bit late for a Catfish check. In Inverted, it's quite easy to check Catfish. You just you can flute to pretty close by. It's a thing that people often do early.
And it looks as though Matkap is going to do the Smith's Chain without the mirror. Yeah, at this stage, because both our runners are doing checks the other has done before.
This is interesting. Andy's looking like he's stealing the small key in Desert.
Ooh.
So he's going against the advice I gave earlier of like, you know, using the small key here to beat the dungeon. I mean, obviously Andy can't beat it yet because he doesn't have the big key, but you're... oh, I guess, okay, yeah, no, he's taking a death here, so he can save and continue, and now he can save scum this key. Okay, this makes a lot of sense. If there's nothing on right side Desert, Andy can just reset and keep it.
Yeah, this does make a lot of sense. And
it becomes interesting if there is something good on right side Desert, of course, because at that point we are then going to need to find the Desert Palace small key.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what these two items are in Desert.
I think the most interesting thing Andy could find right now is something that's good but not like hard required, like the boots, for example, would be very interesting to find over here.
And the first item is a bust, so yeah, the boots would definitely be an interesting thing to see right now.
Oh, well, there we go. Where is the Desert Palace small key?
You said the boots. It was something red. That was the Cane of Samaria, which we still haven't seen the crystal configuration. Misery Mire and might not be required, but well, Andy is going to go into Misery Mire, and well, I think he can probably just full clear it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 2 small keys. I mean, yeah, you don't even necessarily need small keys coming in there, but 2 already means that some things are in logic. So yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense to just go ahead and clear Maya here. We can see that we haven't got the map at all here. There's no letter in the top left of Andy's screen, so it's going to be a mystery what prize drops.
And Matkap is going to find out the bad news about Ped. Well, the good news, I guess.
Yeah, the news about that.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. But yeah, Matkap hasn't checked Lumberjack Ledge, so doesn't know that... Well, it's probably best that Matkap doesn't, because it's one of the 2 bows, the other bow being on Sahasrara. Yeah, Andy is going further into Misery Mire. Matkap is this a purple chest turn in? I didn't see the purple chest on them. Just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I think this is another instance of routing the light world kind of sucks, so gotta go on a walk to get somewhere. Yeah, this could be all the way over to Eastern Palace, which would obviously be good news for Matkap. Yeah, the items that Andy has found in Eastern and subsequently Eastern Ice and Desert is definitely forming a little bit of an advantage here. But Matkap can obviously start eating into that by going over here.
Yep, Matkap definitely going to get a lot of good news here. We'll see if Matkap also goes into ice for that mirror. The mirror being very useful for Turtle Rock. And
okay, so I'm just going to point out that Desert Palace Small Key was inside Misery Mire. So if Misery Mire is a crystal dungeon, Matkap is going to be forced to double dip it.
Okay.
He's going to have to come in there, find that small key, then use that small key to find Samaria to clear.
That's not nice.
It's not nice, but it could still be a pendant, and Matkap might be spared the trouble, though obviously he's going to have to dip it at some point for that small key anyway.
So, yeah, what I was basically thinking, Andy picking up a small key to Misery Mire and Misery Mire. What I was thinking, and there's still checks here, so 300 rupees there, and one more before Andy heads off to the boss, which is Quake. The boss isn't Quake, the item's Quake.
Ooh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. Andy getting BMOS there. We'll have to go from the start of Misery Mire.
I wonder if he'll... Okay, he is going back in. I wondered if he might bail there, not knowing what the prize was, but he's going to come back in and try and finish.
Do you think mirrors required? Is what I'm thinking, because I think mirror is very useful for Turtle Rock, and it's definitely required for Swamp Palace. But I'm just trying to think whether Matkap could skip Ice Palace, not have the mirror, and it actually be a good play.
Yeah, that is interesting. Without knowing the TR and Swamp prizes, it's hard to say, but yeah, you could be onto something there.
Yeah. Andy's just going into the dark rooms of Misery Mire, whilst Matkap is doing Eastern Palace. We won't see any new items for a second. And I'm just remembering, Matkap can check Pyramid Ferry at any time right now, as he has both Desert Palace and Thieves Town. Oh,
yeah,
wait.
He does, but how do you get the chest over
Yeah,
there?
I forgot you need the mirror in order to do this in this mode. Inverted logic, that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think you can save and quit with the big bomb to get back to Dark World, but then even then you wouldn't have the hammer to walk over to the pyramid that way. Yeah, it's very awkward. Ooh, Andy taking an early hit there, going to go ahead and drink this potion to make sure we have a nice safe Vitreous fight.
Yep, Andy definitely facing off against Vitreous now, using Tempered Sword, evading most of the attacks. So, looks like a good fight.
Yeah, it looks like Andy is going to have this dungeon beaten before Matkap's done with Eastern here, so we're going to be in a spot soon where our runners have beaten 5 dungeons between them without having either of them beaten the dungeon that the other one has.
It's always good to see divergence like this.
Okay, so that's not only a crystal, which is obviously good news for Andy, but also the Swamp Palace small key on Vitreous there.
Ooh. That is big. Because...
And what? What? Go ahead.
Matkap needs to go into needs to go into Misery Mire to get that Desert Palace small key, to then go into Desert Palace, to then get the Cane of Samaria, to then go back into Misery Mire, to then get the Swamp Palace small key in Misery Mire. That's big, and that's Matkap's 4th crystal.
Yep, that's the good news for Matkap. The bad news for Matkap is obviously this horrible chain of items that we've just described.
Yes, definitely. And
okay, here comes Andy's Castle Tower play, so that's going to be a Desert Palace big key and one other item for him.
Matkap is fluting to 8, which means that he will go into Ice Palace and will get that mirror.
Yeah, there's still a pretty big question even with that mirror though of how long it takes Matkap to get into Misery Mire, because obviously without the information of whether it's a crystal and without the Cane of Samaria, you really don't want to go into Misery Mire particularly, but obviously we know he has to.
So just a piece of heart as the second check, but Andy definitely getting that Desert Palace big key. Matkap is checking Waterfall, Fairy, and Zora, so that wasn't a nice Palace play. Maya was a crystal.
Yes, we're actually still pretty short on information at this point. We've still got, what, 4 dungeons with unknown prizes, 2 of which are pendants and 2 are crystals?
Yes, so it really depends which 2 are which. Yeah. Chat was asking a few minutes ago whether we might not need the hammer in this seed, and I've been trying to think ever since, is there a way?
So,
if Pod's not the crystal.
Yeah, Pod hard requires it, Swamp hard requires it.
So, yeah, Pod and Swamp can be crystals then. And that is Matkap fluting away to, well, go into Maya. So Matkap will get that Desert Palace small key. And then we'll see if he goes to the right side of Desert Palace. Andy is in Turtle Rock at the moment.
Yeah, sorry. Chat saying that ice also can't be a crystal when you would require the hammer, but you already know that ice is dependent in this case.
Yeah, we definitely know that Ice Palace is the green pendant. Although in all fairness, Ice Palace having the mirror, yeah. Well, Swamp Palace needs the hammer anyways, so it doesn't matter if it soft needs the hammer from Ice Palace as well.
Hera might hard require the hammer for access. I'm not really sure. Yeah, okay, that's okay, yeah, I think it is an inverted right, so I think we have to have the hammer at some point.
Yes, because you need either the hammer or the mirror within any normal seed, but you can't use the mirror, so it must be there.
Alright, so that's Hera, Pod, Swamp, and Ice all hard locked behind hammer, so we have proven conclusively that you cannot beat an inverted seed without the hammer.
Yes. That's good. We figured it out. Thank you ever so much.
Congratulations, everyone. We did some science here today.
Definitely, yeah. So Andy has mirrored into the oh gosh, my mind's gone. The room at the bottom of Turtle Rock. My mind's gone.
Yeah, the laser bridge we traditionally.
The laser bridge. It's only just called the laser bridge. My apologies.
But yeah, so obviously without the big key here, with some creative routing here, Andy can do everything in TR apart from kill the boss and open the big chest.
So yeah. If a Turtle Rock big key appears in here, this might be very useful.
For sure, and yeah, Matkap is obviously in Misery Mire now, which is what needs to happen for his progression. So that's good news for Matkap fans out there. Has found that Desert Palace small already, in fact, but yeah, gonna stay in here, but not gonna find the Cane of Samaria in here. Unfortunately, it's back in the right hand side of Desert Palace. It'll be interesting to see how much longer it takes Matkap to get back into Desert Palace. Obviously, in a normal seed, after you find that thing in Mire, you could just mirror and go immediately into Desert. But I guess did Matkap mirror to be here? Oh no, Matkap hasn't got the mirror yet. Yeah, okay. So there's no easy way to get back to Desert immediately.
Yeah, there's no easy way to get back to Desert. Andy checking the lava chest and just going further up. I believe there's one chest left in Turtle Rock. Because,
yeah, I believe so too.
Andy's already went at the front.
Yeah, he went into the front, so it's just Chomps left.
And Matkap going into Desert Palace, which means that he will get the Cane of Samaria. And oh, that's bad. Those chain chomps hurting Andy. So
yeah, Andy
he goes back in,
getting smashed again. Taking some unfortunate deaths this seed. Alright, Matkap is straight back into Desert, so yeah, good news here. Gonna go ahead and find this Cane of Samaria. And yeah, we're still waiting on that information for Swamp Palace, but it could certainly be that the mirror ends up not being required here.
Okay, so Matkap fluting away to 1, which very well may be a Turtle Rock play. And Andy is making his way towards the last chest in Turtle Rock. And now chat asking, can mirror not be required and inverted? I'm pretty sure
mirror very much could not be required. It depends on the status of Swamp Palace right now, and I guess where the other Turtle Rock small keys are. Because it could be that there are 2 Turtle Rock small keys in Ganon's Tower, which would mean that you would need the mirror to beat Turtle Rock.
Yes, and getting that chest, evading the Bow Wows perfectly. It's just being a piece of heart, though.
Oh yeah, although we actually don't even know the prize for Turtle Rock yet, do we? So that could just be a pendant anyway.
Yes, Turtle Rock could very well be a pendant. Whatever the case may be, because this is inverted, it doesn't mean that our runners have to go through the whole of Turtle Rock again. They can just make their way onto Laser Bridge.
Yeah, but only if they have the mirror, which currently only one of our runners does.
Oh yes, true. So Andy is going to be making his way up, up Desert Palace, to finish off Desert Palace.
Yep, Andy gonna go ahead and knock out some of these crystal dungeons that Matkap beat a while ago. Oh yeah, so chat pointing out that I hadn't noticed that Matkap still hasn't got the Mire big key. I forget where that was.
Yeah, I've forgotten where it was as well, which is very big. Andy opening up the big chest in Desert Palace, which was just 20 rupees. Yeah, if anybody could help, it would be much appreciated.
Old man. Okay.
Old man. That is very big.
Yeah, it's funny. I was obviously spent so long thinking about how long it would take Matkap to find the Cane of Samaria to beat Maya, but I completely neglected to think that they needed the big key as well, which is going to take them even longer to find.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it may look on the screens that Matkap has 4 crystals and Andy only has 2, but considering the big key, and
Yeah, exactly.
considering all the items Andy has, I know I shouldn't speculate, but I would say Andy's slightly ahead at the moment.
Yeah, I would tentatively say Andy has a lead right now. Obviously, that also depends on the location of the last few items we need to beat this lead. Of course, there's a hammer out there somewhere, and potentially a Turtle Rock big key that we need as well.
Yes, just... Well, yeah, the hammer is definitely required, so...
It certainly is. We proved it with science.
Yeah. Just thinking, though.
What's Matkap now set upon by enemies in Turtle Rock as well, unfortunately.
It never ends, Turtle Rock being a very dangerous place. That is Andy's 3rd crystal at 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 40 seconds. Just trying to think. Yeah, Turtle Rock or Swamp Palace big keys. Sorry, Swamp Palace isn't necessary. Turtle Rock big key might be needed. Tower of Hera, logically, I'm only speaking logically, might be needed.
Exactly. You can go ahead and sequence break it with Herapot if needs be.
And, yeah, nobody's been to Swamp Palace, to clarify. Andy has done Ice Palace.
Andy hasn't finished Thieves Town. Yeah, Andy died in the back of Thieves Town earlier, decided not to go back in, and has obviously been waiting to try and find the hammer to make sure that he can knock out the big chest while he's in there. Okay, so that was a save scum of a small key there by the looks of it from Matkap, because obviously without the mirror, might only need, or might be able to, might have to beat Thieves Town, or sorry, might have to beat Turtle Rock from the front. So you want to save all the keys you can there.
And Matkap fluting to 8. This looks as though it's a nice Palace play.
It's like Andy's gonna keep up the trend here of just finishing off the crystal dungeons that he's been leaving behind for a while. So yeah, Desert was now done. We're about to see the end of Skullwoods here. Be interested to see if he finally gives in and goes back into Thieves Town.
Yes, Andy can complete Thieves Town now. So if Andy completes Thieves Town, Andy will be on 5 crystals and Matkap on 4. Andy defeating Mothula easily. Gets that bee in a jar. And his 4th crystal. Yeah, I'm just trying to think because I messed up the big bomb, how it works in inverted. If Andy gets this crystal, because Andy has the mirror, it certainly means that Andy can just mirror across to the Dark World and use the big bomb there, correct?
Yes, yeah, the mirror is all that's required. I believe you can even do it as a bunny if you've like if both of your red crystals are in the Dark World and you get it without the Moon Pearl. You can actually, I think you can buy the big bomb and then mirror and do it as a buy it as a bunny.
Oh, that's quite interesting to know. So, just trying to think, where is Matkap going now?
Hopefully this is Old Man. Like you might want to go through the portal here, then mirror outside Old Man's cave and pick him up.
This will definitely give Matkap the ability to go into Misery Mire, if it is so. Which there should be nothing else Matkap can do, so I'm inclined to agree. And, well, that means both our runners will be relatively close on crystals.
Absolutely, and I think with this Maya big key from here, they'll be caught up on meaningful items as well. So it will actually be a very close race at that point.
It's just, where is that Turtle Rock big key, if it's needed, and where's the hammer? Because we are definitely a hammer for go mode. Everything else might be possible, but might be needed, but we are a hammer for go mode, definitely.
To answer a question there from chat, nobody's been into Hera yet. We cannot get there without the hammer. But nobody's been into Swamp Palace yet either, which is a possible option that's been available for a little bit now, though obviously only I guess 2 chests available before you get hammerlocked.
Yes, 2 before hammer chest, and they did check Sick Kid. It was nothing. So that is Andy's 5th crystal, and Matkap is fluting away to Misery Mire. Matkap has checked all the chests here, so this is effectively a go mode Mire. Still, Matkap is slightly behind here.
Yeah, certainly not by much. This will be Matkap's 5th crystal as well, and has covered a lot of the checked handed as well. Also bailed on Ice Palace as soon as he found the mirror, which could be big. It saves a bit of time, and he did some more checks in there that didn't lead to anything.
So now Andy's checking Sick Kid.
Saw a map and thought maybe we'd finally get some more information, but no, just Hyrule Castle.
Yeah. I did remember it was nothing. I forgot it was nothing.
Yep, just an actual ham sandwich from Sick Kid there.
So Andy is definitely walking towards the big bomb. We'll see if he picks it up. I can't think of anything else. I can think of a possible Swamp Palace to check.
Yeah, he might dip Swamp first, but it looks like no. Looks like it's straight to Big Bomb.
And yes, as far as I know, the MSU is a link between World's Music, and that's playing on Matkap's side.
Yeah, it definitely is linked between worlds. I think Matkap kindly changed the MSU he was going to use for our benefit here, so that it was legal for the restream. And speaking of kind things our runners have done for us, you should show them some kindness in turn and go ahead and give them a follow.
Yeah, they're putting on this race for us, and they're definitely both very good runners, and, well, they're nice people. They definitely deserve a follow.
That's one of Andy's missing pod smorts there. I was waiting on Pyramid this whole time. I forgot Andy had not been there at all, but got to combine it with the fairy at least.
And the fairy is the hammer!
Okay.
Oh!
Well, that's a thing. Wow, Matkap could have done that a long time ago as well.
Not too long. Matkap could have done it after.
Oh no, sorry, yeah, you're right, he needed the mirror. Yeah, I was forgetting that again. I knew he had the red crystals for a long time, but yeah. So that might be go mode for Andy, depending on whether we need the Turtle Rock Big Key.
So Andy is going to blind clear Pod. We don't know what it is. Andy doesn't know what it is. We just need to see.
Yeah, chat, of course, pointing out there as well that that of course means that hammer was locked behind beating Thieves Town, the thing that Andy was putting off for a long time because he didn't have the hammer.
Yes. So, I mean, there could be something in that big chest if it was a big key. That's all we're waiting for definite confirmation that this is go mode, as we do not know what the crystals and the pendants are. The only thing that would be a worry for our runners is if Turtle Rock is a crystal.
Yeah, and I think we'll get a little bit closer in terms of information soon, because I think Andy is going to go ahead and go straight to Helmasaur here, and obviously by beating the dungeon, we'll find out what the prize is.
Yes, and to clarify, as the compass is shown in this dungeon, whilst Matkap has cleared out most of this dungeon, Andy has not. Most likely Andy will clear Helmasaur and then get the rest of the items in this dungeon.
Yeah, I would certainly expect that. Unless Turtle Rock Big Key is on Helmasaur, of course. Then the problem becomes solved.
Yes, because even if it's not logical go mode, I don't know, what do we call it? Illogical go mode?
Yeah, I mean, I think go mode is go mode, right? I mean, you take what you get.
And yes, as chat is saying, well, although I'm extrapolating it, chat saying I think you'd leave if Pod shows crystal. If Pod is a crystal, that means that we're most likely go mode anyways, because Turtle Rock is most likely a pendant.
Yeah, at that point, it is true. You're only 1 in 3 at that point. You can go and beat Hera and or Swamp and see what they drop for you as well, right?
Talking about beating Hera and or Swamp, it seems as though Matkap is going to be checking the first 2 in Swamp Palace. So this could actually be bad for Matkap if either of those is, and the first one being the sword, if the second one is a Turtle Rock Big Key. But we'll just have
potentially.
to see.
But yeah, if it's nothing here, then I wouldn't be at all surprised to see Matkap just head up from here to the Pyramid Fairy.
So that is a crystal. That is crystal number 6 for Andy. This is interesting. Where does Andy go now? If it's not Turtle Rock,
yeah, this is a really interesting
Andy's
spot.
In go mode.
This is a very interesting spot. I think you go beat Hera first, maybe, because it's the fastest dungeon to beat. And if it's the crystal, then you're in Dreamland.
Yep. Well, it seems as though Andy and the chat are agreeing with you, and I think it's a good idea as well. Really, Matkap is getting that bomb, so he is going to get this hammer very soon.
Yeah, I think the more interesting question here is if you beat Hera and it's a pendant, do you then immediately go to Swamp as well? And the answer is probably yes.
Yeah, yes. You've just got to hope that it's not Turtle Rock. And Andy is going right, so we'll see what Andy has yet to pick up. Oh yes, he's going into the light world using the Turtle Rock portal.
Yeah, getting to Hera in inverted is always a bit of a trek, no matter how you want to do it. And there's Matkap's hammer.
So Matkap's definitely behind, but we will see if Matkap goes straight to pod. If not, this lead is going to grow for Andy. Matkap fluting up. This is probably another Hera play. And Hammer was Pyramid Fairy. And we're getting another small key to Turtle Rock.
Yeah, that one's not going to matter at this point.
Andy is going to work up for that Hera part, whilst Matkap is making his way towards Tower of Hera as well.
Alright, no nonsense here from Andy, not going to drop down and open the compass chest, just going to go straight to the boss and get this Moldon killed. Find out if we are in go mode or not.
Yeah, most likely Andy is. 2 out of 3 possibilities for Andy to have a crystal. Is it Hera? Is it Hera? This is the question. It's a
not.
pendant.
Alright, we are down to 50-50. How Andy going to go ahead and drop down now? This makes sense. You can open compass chest now. You haven't got to grab the pendant because we know the pedestal is dead.
And yeah, so Tower of Hera is a bust. Matkap going to give us Ether, which Andy should give us soon as well. That is a big key. It is the big key of Swamp Palace, so...
Okay, well that means Swamp is now full clearable, so I guess you just obviously go and do that next anyway, right?
Yes, exactly.
Like you just full clear it, and it's either the crystal or the TR big key might be in there, if it's not the crystal.
Yeah. It has to be Swamp Palace now.
I mean, Matkap might finish off pod first, but yeah, Andy's obviously going to go to Swamp next.
If it's not in Swamp, where is it?
Oh yeah, we've got some fun times if it's not in Swamp.
Well, yeah, I mean, if the Turtle Rock Big Key is not in Swamp, and if Swamp is not a crystal, where is that Turtle Rock Big Key?
Yeah,
There are some
spicy locations left, like Thieves Town Big Chest, Hera Big Chest. Oh yeah, we've got some things. Oh yeah, Green Pendant turn-in is another place that would be quite fancy, having to go back into ice to finish it with that hammer.
Yes. Gosh, all the possibilities. So Matkap has given us the first 2 checks with regards to Swamp Palace. And we'll just have to see the rest. And that is Matkap defeating Moldorm. Matkap will also miss out on the pendant as... Oh. I thought Matkap checked Ped as well. So...
Yeah, I guess Matkap just didn't know the prize in advance and just stood underneath it when it dropped instinctively, probably.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to see Spike K from Matkap. If this is a Turtle Rock Big Key, this is a big deal.
Yes. If this is Turtle Rock Big Key, we have a race on our hands. Because Matkap could just clear Turtle Rock And if that's... it's a lot of ifs, but if it's a crystal, Andy and Matkap will be on the same number of crystals, and that means that... Well, I say that, it's just 20 rupees.
Yep, the drama is is dissipated as quickly as it came. Looks like Matkap is straight into Swamp Palace as well here.
And Andy at the moment at the highest rupee count in the game, 999 rupees. Well, not in this version.
Yeah, we're capping the vanilla rupee count.
Andy is just going to do diver down for the back, and that is a big key of Tower of Hera big key. Not
right,
nice to see.
I like it. The game's
not a crystal.
The game's teasing us a little.
What's the next chest? The Tower of Hera small key? Oh, just the shield.
All right, the mirror shield. Sure.
So yeah, no divergence between our runners. Andy having a sizable lead, although this might still be a Turtle Rock Big Key hunt. We will see soon as Andy goes in to fight off against Argus. And Andy
just missing out on the 0 cycle there, but still a pretty good first phase. And gets the fire up quick kill.
Is this a crystal? Is this a crystal? It gives a small key to Dark Palace. That
it's a
is
crystal.
The crystal. Yes. So Andy only needs to get Turtle Rock. Wait, what? Ganon's Tower. Climb Ganon's Tower and defeat Ganon. We do not have.
Go ahead.
Sorry, thank you. Basically, Andy does not need to worry about that GT Big Key because it did turn up early. So can just go up the tower and then defeat Ganon.
So we got one of those fun ones there where with that Swamp Palace victory we got to find out that we've been secretly in go mode for about 10 minutes.
Which makes me think, where was that Swamp Palace map?
Yeah, I mean there are a few maps out there that we never saw that could have been pretty useful to us.
So Andy now making his way towards Ganon's Tower, which has been changed with Castle Tower, like I said before. So he's just going to make his way up here. And Matkap will be soon getting a crystal for Swamp Palace, but still needs to complete Pod, so Matkap is a long way behind at this stage. I can't see a way of catching up.
It's going to be pretty rough, especially with without the GT Big Key hunt to potentially be a leveler. You know, the runners just need to climb here, and he's got a gold sword and a mirror shield, and should be completely fine to climb this tower without any much trouble.
Just Andy making the climb, is on the 3rd floor now. Has got Lammo, has got Lammo 2, Moldorm 2, various enemies to defeat, then Agatu, then Ganon. Whilst Matkap is facing off against Argus.
Looks as though Andy is going to actually have to kill Moldorm 2 today as well. The boots have not shown up for us, so no hovering shenanigans today.
You say that. What if Andy checks the last chest before Moldorm 2? Somehow. I know it's not possible because Andy can just climb, so Andy doesn't even need to check, and it's the boots.
Yeah,
I think that would be
very
pretty
much,
crazy.
I very much suspect Andy isn't checking anything here, but yeah, as far as we know, the boots can just be in GT here. Like, there's nothing that's logically boots locked that's anything that we care about.
And that is Matkap 6 Crystal at 1 hour 37 minutes and about 50 seconds.
So with that, Matkap gets the confirmation that he is also in go mode, just needs to go ahead and finish off pod here before heading into GT.
Yeah, and he has defeated Lambo 2 and is still making the climb, facing off against those skeletal race ropes.
Navigating that bridge okay. That screen kind of sucks without the boots.
Matkap has finished off pod, although this is go mode pod anyways, so this will be quite quick. Although still, Andy is going further and further into GT. There's still a huge gap between them here.
He even took the route that went straight by that chest and still didn't open.
Yeah. And here I was hoping. And Andy does defeat Muldoon too. And hook shots across. And now it's just Agatu left for him. So, Agatu, what will it be today? Aghanim not in the best location. Andy getting a 2-hit on that. And then Andy getting 0 hits because not all of them were possible hits on Aga.
Blue bolt there, but ooh, that was a nice recovery.
Yes, definitely. And that is... so
ooh,
it must be
I thought that might have been it, but yeah, I guess 2 of them must have counted as 1. There we go. That's the last hit.
2-1-2-1, I believe. And that is, well, Andy fluting away.
Yep, even in inverted, the game continues the trend of the bird somehow getting into the wrong world to pick you up after Agatu.
It works. Now we're going to get the... that is Matkap's 7th crystal at 1 hour 41 minutes and 16 seconds. And Andy is now facing off against Ganon. Does have a few things in bottles, so we'll see if any of them are health items. Andy is not healing up, so I'm going to assume not.
Yeah, I don't think so. There was a blue potion we had a long time ago, but Andy drank that at some point.
And,
in the Vitreous fight, I think it was.
Yes. And we will soon see that Silver's hint. Did you find the Silvers in Light World, I believe, to mean the Lumberjack? Yes.
Yeah, of course. We do in fact know where those were the whole time. The real question, though, was where were the boots? Because that's how we could have got the Silvers.
Yes, definitely. The boots were definitely hidden. For all we know, they could have been in GT.
Yeah, they certainly could.
Yeah. So, Andy facing off 4th phase against Ganon, getting those spins in.
think with Blue Mail he can still take a hit from a bat here, so it should be completely safe to get this fight over and done with. And there it is.
That is Ganon down. Get your GGs ready for Andy as Matkap is making his way up GT. Andy with a time of 1 hour, 42 minutes, and 56 seconds. And we will see what happens on the screen of Matkap.
Looks like it's a forfeit on the screen from Matkap.
So get your GGs ready for Matkap, who has he has made a valiant effort in the seed, and it was just Old Man that was a huge difference between the two.
But yeah, Matkap putting up a fine fight here. Being in the GT climb when your opponent finishes is certainly no heavy beating.
Yep, and we will see if we are joined by our runners shortly.
So I don't think we mentioned earlier this was race 1 of a best of 3 series. So Matkap not out of this tournament yet. They will carry on to fight more in the future.
Yep. So yeah, I mean Matkap will need to win both races next time in order to go through to the round of 16. Again, we'll see what happens in future with it. 5 possible modes, loads of randomized possibilities here, and hopefully more races definitely like this. Just amazing.
Right, looks like we are joined by Matkap. GG's.
Hello, good evening. GG's to Andy, and thank you to everyone. How are you?
Yep, GG's Matkap.
Yeah, it was a bit unfortunately, obviously, not the outcome I was looking for, but yeah, I don't know. I think it all went very, very terribly, maybe not so much. I always think like in inverted, Saha or Eastern is usually the answer. It's a shame I didn't go after Witch Hut or something. I delayed so much in the end, but I skipped like Dark Mountain and the forest and saying some stuff. And yeah, it was getting a bit late because the mirror wasn't coming up.
Yeah. One thing that we know that you don't know, where do you think the silvers were?
Oh yeah, Andy actually told me in the race. Yeah, he was like, yeah, because Lumberjack was going to be required, and suddenly what? So yeah, silvers were there. Yeah, I don't know. No boots. I never ended up going like in that area. And once I went to the forest, I felt a bit behind, so I just checked pet and left. I would have gone with boots though. But yeah, I think it was probably good, like, not thinking the bow was there.
Yeah. Because
yeah, it was a shame we... sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, because you got the bow on Sahasrahla anyways. Well, not Sahasrahla, Sahasrahla's closet.
Yeah, I was going to say we were hoping for Boots to show up because it would have been interesting to see if you'd found Boots. I guess you hadn't seen the bow on Lumberjack anyway, but I wondered if Andy had found Boots, whether he would have like gone to Aga immediately, knowing there was a bow behind them.
Well, I didn't get a single Aga key. I don't know if he had them, but I didn't get.
Andy had. He had one, I think.
Okay. Okay, that's another reason, because I just said, yeah, I mean, when I was in the area, now that I say it, like, I have no keys, this seems to be pretty far away.
Yeah, true.
No boots, no keys, no anything. And yeah, I don't know, it's extremely hot today, which is not an excuse or anything, but I didn't play as comfortable as maybe as I would have liked. I think in the end I didn't play that bad, considering the time difference and Sandy and everything. And from my point of view, it was all terrible. So yeah, I mean, obviously never easy. It's a shame that in groups it was really close, but in the end, even though I got a 4-2, I mean, even though I was the first seed, I was 4-2. So yeah, just going straight away against a seed 2, it's always tough. But I mean, it's round of 32, so no one's gonna be easy. And yeah, I mean, I think I can take one at least. Let's hope it.
There's a lot between you two that we saw. You were both doing different checks, and you were doing a lot of crystals at the start, whilst Andy was doing a lot of, dark world, light world checks. So it was hard to pinpoint, but in my personal opinion, both of your execution was very similar to one another. So a lot of it was just that old man and that castle tower big. I mean, what were your thoughts, Rob?
Which key, sorry?
The Desert Palace big
Oh.
key in Castle Tower. You spoke
Oh,
about
yeah.
before.
Oh yeah, it's true. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, Andy was a little bit later to that, but was first to Eastern and to the Maya big key, which are obviously the things that made the biggest difference.
Oh really? I really thought I was like much later to that, because I felt I did like Castle Tower and Hookshot Cave and Super Bunny Cave extremely late.
Andy just left the tower and didn't do it early. He actually went there later with a small key and did both checks.
Makes sense. Better routing.
But yeah, one thing I did notice on your side, and I think I dislike them now possibly as much as you do, that dead hand taking you away from Mothula. Gosh.
Yeah, I mean, it was that and the mirror box in Swamp constantly, and the mirror bunk with the old man. I don't know, some terrible stuff. I really think that's like due to the heat, and I haven't played that much these days, which I don't think it's necessarily bad. But Inverted did get me like maybe a little bit like offhand, like the death just at the start, which was like, okay, I moved 1 pixel north from the wall and now I have to burn. But it is what it is.
And let me think. Another thing that I noticed that was just a different play and could have worked well either way. Andy actually save scummed the small key for Desert Palace, with the small key in Desert Palace ending up in Misery Mire. So Andy actually did go right and checked out right side Desert Palace and got that gain of Samaria, whilst you just went straight to the back. And I'm like, either one of those plays is valid, but it just worked out that time, I guess.
Yeah, and Andy didn't have the big key when he was in Desert for the first time, which is, I think, why he did it.
Yeah, well, I went 3 times to Desert, which is always amazing. But yeah, I don't know. I like save scamming and that kind of play. It's some kind of plays that I think I did more before, and I'm not saying it's a bad play at all, but just trying to play a bit more standard, so to speak. And yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're safe scamming it, you're always going to be safe, which I actually did in Turtle Rock by accident since I died. But I was like, okay, at least I'm saving the key, so that's something. But obviously not on purpose. But yeah, I mean, that's funny because that was like the only thing that I felt that maybe I was a bit ahead. That was also like I felt going like to Swamp before in case the hammer was there and to get me a second key. And yeah, I almost went to Turtle Rock to be honest. Luckily I didn't, to Laser Bridge. But since I got, I think it was the big key in Old Man or something. I got Dead Rocked, and that actually made me go to Mire, to be honest. I would have gone to Laser Bridge if not, for sure. And because because in my mind, like, I don't know, I really thought that Samaria was like maybe a big difference. So I really wanted to push for Laser Bridge and Crystal Roller Room, since Samaria was the only way to get there, and that was like the only check left that Samaria was really opening.
Hmm.
But yeah, so that Dead Rock honestly like could have changed the race absolutely.
Yeah. Andy, what we saw on Andy's side, he went to Ice Palace earlier, so he had the mirror and was able to just mirror to Laser Bridge at that point. But I mean, Ice Palace being a pendant, I believe Andy did know that at that time. You know, again, choices can work or they can't work effectively.
Yeah, because it was a pendant. He probably did he go with Cane of Samaria at that point?
No, he didn't have Cane of Samaria at that point.
Because that was one thing that I wasn't sure about because it was no Cane and okay, did he have a nice small key?
I don't think so.
Because he has one now, but I don't think he had it earlier. Because I don't know, the ice mold was the other thing. Like even with Kane, which didn't make it, I think, as good to go because you could get locked in the right. You can steal the key, but that's terrible. Or yeah, when I found the mirror, I just felt so behind. I just left. Yeah, again, I don't know. Playing through it all felt terrible, but all things considered, I think it went well. And I mean, it's round of 32. It's obviously not going to be easy. And like, I don't know, just being like playing good and like similarly to players around this level, I think feels good.
Yeah, just I don't know what else to say. I mean, it was definitely a race for quite some time, and well, there's not much more for me to say in questions and anything. So just thank you ever so much, Matkap.
Yeah. Thank you to everyone for listening and everything. And we are playing tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern.
Okay. Well, yeah. Is there anything you want to say, Rob?
Just should say thanks to everyone who's organised this restream. You know, thanks for co-commenting alongside me. Thanks to the tracker, and thanks again to our runners, who you should definitely follow immediately.
Yeah, definitely. So, just closing things off. Yeah, thank you to our runners, Andy and Matkap. Thank you for co-commentating beside me, Rob. Thank you, Demons Druid, for tracking for us. Thank you, SpeedGaming, for restreaming all of this. And just, yeah, thank you, everybody. If you like all of this with the tournament, watch SpeedGaming 1 to 5, A Link to Pass 1 to 6. Now, I know with regards to this tournament, there is a match in an hour. There may be a match going on as well. It looks as though there's one on the Link to Pass Randomizer in progress, and I believe there's one that just started that's Speed Gaming Deutsche. So yeah, go on, watch it all. It's all fun, and just thank you, everybody. And yeah, from me, goodbye.